if I could just snap my fingers and have any dream, it would be that schools are, rooted in wellness first, physical wellness that leads to emotional wellness, and then start to learn how to, do the square root of whatever, and know what the periodic table is. And I mean, the amount of time that, children have to try and memorize things that are eventually important, that they could also be spent on running around or learning how to do a push-up, or learning how to appropriately play with other kids. Like there's so many things that I think still have the opportunity to happen if we as adults continue to also educate ourselves on how to be healthier and how to have more purpose with our movement and our the holistic side of what we are as a physical being.
I only got strong because at uni, because I had to lift a ton of my own drawings and my own things that I was making, and they were heavy. And I was living by myself, and I just had to like move a lot of stuff around. And I suddenly got strong just like you said, farm fitness. This was like city fitness.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, architectural strength.
Yeah. This, life makes you strong. But had I been in some other degree, I think I would have maybe had a struggle with strength. Maybe it's also genetically I'm okay with that. But yeah, I wish that strength had been on the radar, and I wish it had been something to aspire to. So like as an educator, because that's what you are, I would love to know your thoughts, and maybe from all your experience trying to build strength in people, old, young,
Hmm.
um, uh, whether you've seen this like this moment of like, oh, I feel
Yeah.
I get it now.
No, I was gonna say that's the magic, and like you said, just getting strong. There's like a moment where you think, oh, I used to not be able to do that, or oh, this feels cool to be able to do, and it doesn't really matter in what discipline, just in general, like functional strength, functional fitness is so cool and so important, and it allows you to then go into more specific things that you might be interested in, and yeah, like coming from an educator side of things. Um, essentially we say, yeah, children go to school to figure out what they want to be for a vocation, for a career, for work. We could put, kind of fitness and strength in that category too. If children are just exposed to it more often, then maybe they find a sport that they love. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just, yeah, actually, I just kind of like to look nice and feel better. That's good too. Or maybe somebody says, yeah, I really don't care what I look like so much. I understand it's important to be healthy and eat good and everything, but I want to know how much of this heavy weight I can pick up. I just want to know that. Like, that's really interesting to me. Or I want to know how fast I can run, or I want like just the idea of associating, fitness with healthiness, with wellness, not necessarily a team sport, or not necessarily, yeah, I'm only doing this because I need to do it for the sport, but essentially just it's a lifestyle. Like it would be so cool to get a bigger community, really, of educators, and where that's just part of a lifestyle. Like, the same, like, why do we have to do this math? Well, it's teaching your brain how to work and solve some more complex things, and maybe you have a job in the future that you need to know some of these things. So it's just important to have a foundation right now. Yeah, and for most kids, that's enough of an answer. Okay, I don't really like it, but I like, I get it, I understand. And I think you can have so much more practical fun with strength and fitness and exercise, because you can see so much more difference, and there's so many areas. That's why CrossFit's so addicting to improve. Like the moment you stop improving in something, you can either really dial in and focus more and embrace a more technical side of it, or you can look at a different skill and find something new to kind of get that taste of growth, or accomplishment or success. So yeah, you're here. I want to like start a movement. Oh, the relationship side. So connections. for me, without coaching, I don't know. I would be very limited in, I guess, how many friends I have. I had a joke, the talk I had with somebody recently where I just said, yeah, I really, and I think it's a good thing. I like to accumulate friends. I like to accumulate relationships, and it starts to get difficult. There's even some psychology that says like it's very hard for our brain to have more than like 100 friendships. After that, it can turn into a stressor, or it's just difficult to stay that connected with everybody. But I like the meaningful connections that I get from coaching, and then they never leave. So if I look at, let's say right now, I'm actively working with 20 people one on one, but over the last 10 years, let's say I've worked with 200. I still feel connected to all of them. Like there's never a point where one of those people couldn't send me a text message or call me or FaceTime me or an email that I wouldn't remember most of everything about them that we went over. And I wouldn't, I would always want to know more about what's happening now. So yeah, just the connection side of coaching, like, of course, if somebody wants to be competitive and, if somebody wanted to become an Olympian in weightlifting, or somebody wanted to be a CrossFit Games champion or anything of like that, that's fun and exciting. But ultimately, just the interpersonal relationship side of it, to me, is I love it. I crave it, just because I know there's so much value to it, and I know how much it offers me in terms of fulfillment and feeling very, very good. But in the same sense, I also know how much it offers to some, just from different private conversations I've had with whether it's a family issue that's happening, or a relational issue, or an emotional depressive issue. It's so cool as well to be able to be a resource in that sense of just kind of, a coach can be one of your most safest people to talk to without any judgment, especially when it's a conversation that's outside of the training. And I think that's something that that I definitely did not anticipate at all, going into coaching or going into teaching fitness classes. But I also feel very prepared for it from the degree in education, from the time spent in the counseling program. I think I'm very aware of how much value I place on that, how important it is to me. And then I'm generally very, very impressed with most of the other coaches that I meet that have that same perspective, and even the ones that maybe don't realize they do, once they start talking about it, they really, really do. And when you notice people stay in a field of study, or a field of education, or a vocation for a long period of time, I think that's the ultimate factor, especially in a community setting. If you don't love relationships and value people, you're not going to be in it for very long, because you're not gonna be successful.
Yeah. And I have first-hand experience of that. I can vouch for that. Weightlifting has been an excuse for a ton of other conversations with you, and like check-ins of various kinds. Always very gentle, but I think you have the carrot and the stick in the right. You can pull out the carrot at the right time, pull out the stick at the right time. So yeah, you've definitely got a gift there, a well-honed gift for I guess mentoring and having, like, being someone's accountability person without being intrusive or annoying. And